Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of White Coats and Real Talk podcast, where we talk about Black excellence in healthcare. On tonight's episode, we have an amazing guest. So I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself and give her background and credentials for the audience.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Angel, for having me. My name is Tysharra Belfon. I am a board certified family nurse practitioner, and I also specialize in wellness and aesthetics. So I have my master's in family nurse practitioner, and I am currently pursuing my doctorate DNP as well. Yes.
Yes, that is awesome. Serving all that Black girl magic. I love it. I love it. So, how long have you been in the healthcare field?
So I've been in the healthcare field for this is coming up on my 13th year. So I graduated nursing school in 2012 and I went straight into nursing. I went from high school straight to nursing. I just kind of knew that that's what I wanted to do. And I really wanted to get a head start. I was like, I made up my mind. I actually did healthcare HOSA. I don't know if you guys are familiar with HOSA, but it's like a high school program to get high school students exposed to healthcare. So I was actually the charge nurse in in my high school HOSA program, and we did a lot of nursing home visits, and we would do like CNA type work. And early on, once my high school HOSA teacher, who was a BSN prepared nurse at the time, she kind of put that charge nurse title on me, and once she did that, I ran with it. I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Say, I got this, huh?
I'm like, I
That
got
is awesome. That's awesome. I love to hear that, and I love to hear people's journey. Did you say you was in women's health?
So I do women's health. So as a family
Okay.
nurse practitioner,
Mhm.
I find that a lot of people don't necessarily know that as a family nurse practitioner or even just a primary care provider that we can provide women's health. So
Mhm.
big majority of my clients are women, and we do really go into women's health and just trying to optimize their health and, make them advocate for themselves.
Okay, so you in the aesthetics, the women's health. I
Yes.
love it. I love it. So what inspired you to pursue such a diverse range of specialties? And how do you balance them all?
Right. That's the I'm still working on all of that, but I decided to do a dynamic practice. When I first envisioned myself going into family nurse practitioner, I knew that I wanted to be in private practice. That was a given. That's what really drove me to even pursue a master's. I wanted to go into private practice, and I felt that it came from a need that we had in the community for representation. And I
Mhm.
feel that all of those specialties that I, specialize in, there's a lack of representation. So when we talk about women's health, there's a lack of representation of Black women, of women, in general in women's health. When we talk about primary care providers, by statistics, there's only about 9% of Black providers in the United States. So that amount of Black women down here where I'm from in Florida is even slimmer. And then we talk about aesthetics. That's a big industry that is really dominated by, white women. And believe it or not, white men dominate that industry. And for me, I'm like, we need representation in aesthetics and
Mhm.
wellness. We need to have representation and know that we don't have to, age however we're going to age. We can age gracefully. We can have the resources. So by bringing all of those things together, that's what kind of birthed my vision and my practice and the way that I like to practice, because again, 90% of my clientele are women and a large percentage are Black women. And if we're talking about bringing education, I believe in holistic care. So if we're going to be talking about, just the annual exam, and then you mentioned to me like, I think I'm getting a little bit of wrinkles up here. I want to be able to be well versed enough and educated enough to be able to address all of those concerns and not have fractionated care.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And thank you. Thank you. Because we are underrepresented. And representation does really, really matter. And one of
Yeah.
the reasons why I did want to start this platform is, to highlight that,
Yeah.
highlight our representation in the healthcare field. So thank you, thank you.
Thank
So
you.
what are some of like the biggest misconceptions people have about nurse practitioners, working in multiple specialties? As if we can't do it, but
So nurse practitioners are like the underdogs. And a lot of times I find the biggest obstacle for nurse practitioners, especially when we dive into like non-traditional specialties, is that the population, the community don't think that we're educated enough. They don't think that we know enough about what we're talking about. And they sometimes just see us still as that RN or nursing role. And it's
Mhm.
very difficult for people to respect us as providers. And I find that, head to head on comparison, mid-level to mid-level, when it comes to a PA, there's like this glorified title. When it comes to nurse practitioners, people often associate us with just being like, the Florence Nightingale, run behind you, let me help you. And I'm going to be a little cocky, Dr. Angel. We're dominating. Like, honestly,
Period.
we're dominating healthcare. We've always been the backbone of the hospital, and we are dominating. And a lot of times, believe it or not, patients are shocked to find out that this doctor that they love so much, or their provider that's just so bomb and thorough, that she's actually a nurse practitioner. And when they find
Mhm.
that out, they're like, what? So I find that, we just have this stigma that we have to work really hard to, prove ourselves, prove our education. Yes, we have a background in nursing, but I believe that's what makes us so bomb. Like, we know
Mhm.
how to care, but we also are educated enough to diagnose. And what we do that other disciplines don't do is we actually build connections, because it's instinct. We build connections with patients. We work together with patients. We get their buy-in. And I feel like when we're doing these different specialties that's non-traditional, people don't necessarily respect it. And we have to work a little bit harder to prove that we know medicine just like the other disciplines do.
You are absolutely right. And guess what? That is not cocky. That's confidence. Okay. That is confidence. That is knowing your worth and what you bring to the table, the value that you bring, because us nurse practitioners, we bring a lot of value.
We
And research study shows that we provide the best care and we
Yes,
have better patient outcomes. So it's
yes.
not cocky at all because we are the true underdogs.
We are. We
That's just being confident in our abilities and know the value that we bring to healthcare.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
love it. I love it. I love it. So what actually drew you into the aesthetic world?
So going back to representation,
Hmm.
I am a first generation everything in my family. First generation entrepreneur, first generation nurse, first generation provider. And when I think about my upbringing, especially being from the South and being raised by a single mother, there were certain things that were just not prioritized in our culture. One of which is, self-care. We were so busy on survival mode that we never really took time to pour into ourselves. And so from that birthed a lot of these like stigmas and untruths and misconceptions, like black don't crack. We age just like everybody else ages. And it's like, we do have wrinkles, we do have imperfections, but because we've always been on survival mode, we've always thought that that's a space that's just not for us. And going into aesthetics, my mission was to show women that look like me that it is for us. We can age just as gracefully. Yes, obviously our melanin is protection, and, our skin does have a lot more endurance, but we still age. We age in different ways where we look tired because we do get dark circles. We hyperpigment a lot. We have imperfections and insecurities, but we've just been so conditioned to just like, accept it. And I wanted to bring that anti-aging, that wellness, some of these treatments that's not just Botox and fillers, but it's just skincare, taking care of your skin. Some of the things like moles and wrinkles and dark spots come from miseducation about sun exposure. Just because we're dark skinned and we have melanin doesn't mean that we need to just be basking in the sun and
Mhm.
aging even more harshly. So my love of aesthetics really came from wanting to educate my community, bring that resource, make sure that they know that it's done right. And when it's done right, it's done tastefully. Like nobody's about to clock you. Nobody's gonna even know, right? And I'm from a family full of women, so I've always
Mhm.
been taught that how you show up, how you present yourself is
Yeah.
how you feel. And so when you lead and you feel like you are, gorgeous, when you're the star, nobody can tell you nothing. So you're going to not only you're going to execute your interview because you feel like you're prepared, you look prepared. You're not coming into a door where you're insecure because you're like, wow, they're so beautiful. You're one of those girls that's like, hey girl, you're so pretty. That's the first
Mhm.
thing that when you know that you're her, you don't have a problem with complimenting another woman. But when you're leading with insecurities and you see like, wow, she's pretty, wow, she doesn't have that, then you bring that into your workplace, your home, your social life. And so just going into aesthetics was to carve a path for girls that look like us and
Mhm.
women and older women to say like, we can age gracefully, we can tweak a little bit here and there, and just really pour into ourselves and take care of ourselves.
You are absolutely right. I second all of that. Like you are
Like,
absolutely right. You made some very, very good, valuable points.
yeah.
So how do you ensure ethical practice in patient education in a field that is so driven by trends and
Mhm.
social media? Like, how do you ensure that you continue, to do the right thing and not do what's, I would guess, what people say popular or what's a trend when you're in the healthcare space?
Absolutely. So I'm from Miami. So, Miami is a different place from the rest of the world.
Yes, it
So
is.
Miami, we get real creative down here. And so I have patients that bring me stuff. They love to send me TikToks. They'll send me Instagram posts and like, can you do this for me? I saw this. My cousin did that. And I always go back to really what brought me to healthcare in general is to make a difference and do the right thing. And so it's easy always. And I tell my kids that it's always easy to go the path of least resistance. But what can you do when you lay your head down at night? I can know that, okay, maybe I wasn't a TikTok star, or maybe, I'm not breaking in millions of dollars, but I know that I can go to bed at night and know that I did no harm. That Hippocratic oath is really what drives me. And again, one thing that I hone in on, and even when my patients send me things that I don't agree with, I find that education is 100% undefeated. When a person really knows and they trust you, and that's what I hold my practice, that's my standard. I hold my patients to a standard. And I tell them all the time, sometimes everybody's not my patient and that's okay. But when you are my patient, I know that they trust me. They know that I do the right thing, whether that means that it may be a treatment, some money lost, but at the end of the day, they're going to come back and that's going to be repeat revenue because they trust you. They trust you with their life. They eventually trust you with their family. And that's how you build an ethical practice that we're not meant to fit into, whatever is popular. We're in a generation of mass misinformation. Everything is out there for everybody to interpret. And unfortunately, people are running to social media for things that they used to call up your doctor for, or call up, a healthcare person and ask them. Now we're getting such misinformation. So a way that I stay ethical is that I'm always explaining to my patients, I educate them ad nauseum. So if it's something that they come to me and they say, they want to try or they're interested in or they really want to do, we have to get to the bottom of why do you want to do this? At the end of the day, it may be like, hey, I want to do, these fat shots that I saw on TikTok. Their problem is that they want to lose weight and they want to tone up their body or they want to get rid of stubborn fat. There's always a way that we can do that. It's not going to be the cheap route, maybe. It may not even be, what they saw. But at the end of it, kind of figuring out what is it that you're trying to achieve, and let's figure out how we can do that safely and still get you the results. And another thing is taking ego out of it. Doing what's right for the person, because maybe I cannot do that for you. Or the results that you want is like tummy tuck results. and I can't perform a tummy tuck, but I will do my due diligence and put you in the direction or put you in contact with someone that can do that for you. And I always let them know, why is it a problem? Not just saying, oh, you shouldn't do that. Because I find that when you educate a person and they understand the why that you're saying that, they look at it differently versus just saying, no, I'm not doing that, or no, we don't do that. They need to
Right.
understand, hey,
Hmm.
that's not FDA approved. That's okay. But remember, there's no testing, there's no sterility, when you're getting it from Amazon, when you're getting it from this person, are they transporting it cold? And then you start getting the wheels turning and they're like,
Hmm.
okay, so what do you do, right? Because at the end of the day, they know that it's really not just because it's something that you don't do, but it's something that you don't believe in, and ethically, and most important for their health and safety. That's the reason that you're saying what you're saying, and you get their buy-in. So that's what fuels me. Do the right thing and
Do the
attract the right
right thing. Yeah.
and attract
Integrity.
the right patients. Yeah, integrity. Yeah.
And education. Education. That
Yes.
is so important. So important. So, what are some key conversations you believe we should be having more of, far as with women health, especially with Black women?
Absolutely. So there's about three conversations that I think that we're not having, or we're not having often enough. Number
Mhm.
one is I'm a big advocate for girls' health. Teenage girls, I believe that between 12 and 18 are like that pivotal time frame where you're curious, you're growing, and that is the age that we should be actually honing in on those girls and giving them the tools to have autonomy and dominion over their bodies. And I feel like so many people are, especially moms and parents and single, dads and grandparents, because we have a different mindset that we were born and, brought up with, that we
Mhm.
don't want to talk about it as taboo. But we're doing these girls, especially, and even boys, a disservice because they don't have dominion over their body. They don't understand. They don't have autonomy, and they're making forever decisions from momentary feelings. So I definitely feel that we need to have more conversations with our youth at that pivotal moment, talking to them about human growth and development, talking to the community about STDs, because it has not gone anywhere. Like, we are still in a mass pandemic of HIV, syphilis is back, herpes, all of these things that we should be talking to people, the community, women, and telling them like, hey, we're in a different time right now where we're a lot more creative than we used to be. So things that used to be boxed in for one group of people, we're kind of, we're all around the place now. So how to protect yourself, what to look out for, what does this look like? I think that making and demystifying our bodies as women, it's just so mind blowing to me sometimes that women are still, ashamed and embarrassed by discharge and odors and, feelings and different things that we should be like talking about. Like, no, this is normal. This is not anything wrong. So really just having that conversation about what's normal with your body. And the last thing is menopause. We are suffering in silence. Like, older women are really suffering because they don't have the right education. We're not talking about it enough. And they're still shamed about things. For example, you can talk to a woman about lubrication, and the first thing she'll say, oh no, I don't have a problem in that area. No, I'm good. Because it's embarrassing to say that you have vaginal dryness, right? But we know that it's part of menopause. Also, you're a little moody and, everybody's getting on your nerves because it's part of
Mhm.
menopause. So, that painful intercourse is part of
Mhm.
menopause because the estrogen and those hormones that you're losing. So as women, we go through so much, but we get so little support and information. And it's
Mhm.
because we're still those little girls inside of us that's too embarrassed to talk about what we feel, how we're feeling. So I think that in women's health, we just have to like continue to have the tough conversations until it's not tough anymore. Continue to have this mass dissemination of information until it's like second nature. Continue to educate girls from when they're younger to as they grow through their stages and they become mothers and their body's changing and they become menopausal. And then when they have this burst of postmenopausal, that is not taboo to say, hey, do you know about this? Or I'm feeling this, or be able to pass that information along. So I just feel like we have to talk about sexuality
Mhm.
and our bodies and really just make it okay to talk about it.
You made some great, great valid points. Some really valid points because it is a lot of women that like converse back to their inner self, and they don't want to, say certain things for feeling the embarrassment. But we all women, and I'm
Yeah.
sure that you created a safe space
Yeah.
for the women to express themselves. But
Yeah.
despite you may have created that safe space, it's still women that's still afraid to
Yeah.
speak about what's really going on with them. You know.
Yeah.
But hopefully, that continues to change with more education and and
Absolutely.
making people feel more in a safe space to, speak those concerns and those feelings on
Yeah.
how they're doing. So, what does, because this is Black excellence in healthcare,
Yeah.
what does Black excellence mean to you?
So, Black excellence for me is, I'm going to continue to use this word, and it's representation. I feel
Mhm.
that Black excellence is not just enough to show that you made it, but when you exude Black excellence, it's making sure that the people around you within your community, they also benefit from that quote unquote Black excellence. So that may mean, being successful in your own right, but creating and carving a path for other people that look like you, that look up to you, that want to do what you do, creating a safe space, creating a lane for them to also come up, because that's a legacy. So Black excellence should be a legacy. It shouldn't just be, starting and ending with one person or one, group of people. It should really be a community. And so Black excellence to me, when I look at a person and I'm like, wow, that's Black excellence. It's not just the doctor or the nurse practitioner that's doing good things, making good money, but it's the one that is like, hey, I'm also paying it forward. I'm dedicating my time. I want to mentor. I want to see you, do good things. I want to have that college student that needs those volunteer hours come into my office. I got you. Let me sign off on your paper so that you can be competitive in med school with all of the other people that have that community and that tribe. So Black excellence is just really being a representation and being a symbol and a pillar in your community for what you strive to be, healing your inner child, but also uplifting other people that, want to better their lives.
I love it. I love it. I love every bit of that. So
Yeah.
I know, as a provider, you earned that white coat. That white coat. So what does that beautiful white coat that you're wearing, what does that symbolizes for you personally?
So for me personally, it is a symbol to my inner child that everything I wanted to be, I became. And it is just, believing in myself. And we all have our own childhood. We all have our own path. We all have our, things that we aspire to be. But putting on this lab coat was and still is a symbol that everything that I want to be and everything that I aspire to be, that I can be for myself, for my family, for my children. So it's more than just, a piece of clothing. It is, symbolic of everything, everywhere that I've been and everywhere that I'm going and where I want to be.
Yes, I love that. I love that. That's a great symbolism of
Yeah,
that beautiful white coat.
thank you.
So, or what's one piece of advice, or even if you have more than one piece of advice that you will offer to aspiring Black healthcare professionals?
Absolutely. So collaboration over competition any day. There's enough space. Yes. Like I can't beat that into I'm like, I wish I had a billboard, collaboration over competition, because at the end of the day, we're a minority and we're all fighting to get into a space where we have a common goal, right? Everybody is trying to do good things, better their lives, better their families' lives. And if we understand that what's for us is going to be for us, I am a strong believer in God. God is going to make a way for his people. So all you have to do is just lay your burdens down. And when you are everything that you exemplify, everything that you want, right? When you're that to someone else, God continues to rain down his blessings on us. And so if I could just tell Black healthcare professionals, like, we are so much better together than we are apart. And what's going to be for you is going to be for you. And it's okay to have community, because you can't go everywhere alone. Like if you're just disseminating the same information to yourself over and over and over, it's a little crazy, right? You have to be able to talk about it, feedback, have somebody that understands, because a lot of us are not married to healthcare providers or professionals or entrepreneurs, or, we don't have family members that have been there before for us. So a lot of us are filling up. A lot of us are learning trial by fire. So why not go at it with other people that can help you to build, help you to succeed, help you to maybe not make a mistake, or that you can do the same. So when you learn that what's for you and who's going to be for you, who's attracted to you, me and you can be right here side by side. And there's going to be somebody that's like, I love me some Dr. White, but Belfon's my girl, or vice versa, or be like, it's cool that either one of y'all I see, I know I'm in good hands. And that's how you build a community. And, it's too much. It's too many people that want to see us fail for us to be fighting against ourselves as well.
You are absolutely. I second all that.
Yeah.
You are absolutely right. That is some amazing advice, and I hope those that are listening take heed of that advice. So, in every episode, I do a segment called White Coat Confessions.
Okay.
This is where me and the audience can get a little bit in your business.
Okay. Let's go. Let's do it.
So if you don't mind
Mhm.
sharing a personal or professional truth or a lesson that you learned or something that you haven't told anyone, or when I say haven't told anyone, I mean like nobody close,
Yeah.
that has shaped you into the woman that you are today.
So I guess confession. I don't know if it's a confession, because I think that I'm a Sagittarius, so I wear my emotions on my shoulders. Are you too?
Yes.
Sag.
Yes,
That's how
I'm
we
a
click.
Sag too. Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. I feel at home. So we wear our emotions on our sleeves, right? It's a lot. It's not a lot that we actually hold in and we keep to the chest. Like if you know, you know. So you can't never say that you didn't know. But something that really shaped me, and we are not sensitive. I'm not a sensitive person, but I am, and it's because I love real hard. And when I want to do something, I do it all out. So if you ask me, I'm not going to give you half. I'm going to be like, here's the whole shirt. You can have it. And so one thing that shaped me, and it continues to shape me, and I think it's a good lesson about just resilience, but also just about continuing to be a good person despite what happens. So I'll just make it very brief. When I first decided to go into family practice and pursue a nurse practitioner degree, I was like, I am from Miami. I am not from like a rich part of Miami. I'm from like a regular old part of Miami. And I am a Black woman and I want to do good things with this coat, right? So when it was time to choose a preceptor or, a doctor, NP or PA, I was like, I almost missed my clinical rotation because I really wanted a Black female from my community, because I'm like, okay, she's already doing the work that I want to do. And so fast forward, I did my entire clinicals there. And, when I finished school, she called me and she's like, hey, I want to hire you. And I'm like, okay, that's awesome. I started working for her, and this is why I am the way that I am and why I operate the way that I do and why I'm so big on collaborating and being a mentor to girls, because it was not the best environment. It didn't end very well. It actually birthed my entire business because I was so fed up. I was anxious to the point that I was having somatic symptoms. Like my stomach was killing me every Monday morning through Friday morning. And I'm like, am I drinking too much coffee? Like, what is happening? And it was because my anxiety was like eating me apart. I was like, do I need to just keep going back to school? I just was having so much self-doubt because it was an environment that was fostered on intimidation. And it was not because like, hey, this is, some cool stuff that this Black girl is doing. We could do really good things. It was really a uncomfortable, intimidating environment. And I went into it, green, where I'm like, we're about to do good stuff. I'm bringing all my knowledge. I'm like, let's open up a med spa. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I was sadly let down. And I eventually realized that it was really because of mean girl energy. And when I left that place, I vowed that I would never treat my employees that way. I would never treat anyone that, looks up to me or comes to me for any sort of advice, whether I can help or I cannot. It just really shaped the type of leader that I wanted to become. Not so much the provider that I am, but it shaped the way that I wanted to lead and how I wanted to be viewed and how I want to actually be what I talk about. Not just talk about it, not just say like, I'm a girl's girl, but actually I shouldn't have to say it. It should just exude from me and exude from being a woman that wants to see other women, win. So that situation really broke me down. I cried. I was mad. I was like devastated. I was relieved. I was going through it. Like, I was like, I don't want to be back there, but I don't like the fact that I feel like I took an L or I quit or I lost. But I needed that ambition and I needed that motivation. And I needed that experience. And honestly, one thing I've never said is that I wouldn't trade it for the world, because had I not gone through what I went through, I may not see the world through the lens that I see it right now, or I may not view, collaboration the same way by not having to experience disappointment in the way that I did. So that's my little confession, and I don't allow it to jade me. I'm like, hey, I'm one of those people that I'm rocking with you until you prove me that I shouldn't. And once you prove it to me, then okay, we done. But we done. But that was something that just shaped me, and I still hold on to it to this day, because it was very pivotal in my life. It wasn't just a career thing. It was more of like being let down by somebody that was supposed to be my skin folk. Like, we supposed to be, doing this like generations, but it is what it is. Things happen for a reason. I'm a strong believer in that. God put you through things because he needs us to be strengthened. So this is my purpose. This is what I'm meant to do. And I needed to go through that.
Absolutely, absolutely. At the time, we don't like going through it, but
Man.
everything is, I really believe everything is for a reason. And had not you gone through that journey, it wouldn't have shaped you into the woman you are right now and the things that you aspire to do. So everything was for a reason.
Everything's right down these shoulders.
a good little lesson.
Good old lesson. Good old one.
Okay, so what's up next for you? What you have going on? How can people follow you?
Okay, so I have 3 healthcare ventures. So the first one is called
Okay.
South Florida Primary Healthcare. That is our primary care family practice where we see children from 12 and older, for family, women's health, annual screenings, etc. Our Instagram is South Florida Primary Healthcare. You can follow us there on IG. You can also follow us on our aesthetics and our wellness platform. We've been there for over 4 years, so that one is a little bit more bustling. At Belfon Health and Aesthetics, that is Belfon _health _aesthetics. We're also on TikTok, which has been, you on TikTok? TikTok has been pretty fun.
I'm trying to get with it. I'm on it. I'm trying to get with it. Like, I post and then I forget and I go back and look a couple days later.
I have been riding the TikTok wave. I was resistant for a long time, but TikTok has been doing us really good. So it's a lot of information over there on our TikTok page. But what's up next for us? We have a nonprofit organization called Healthcare for Humanity, in which I am the founder. And in my organization, on my board, we have a nurse anesthetist as well as a pharmacist. And I'm really excited about an upcoming venture that we're bringing to the community. I can't necessarily spill all the beans, but just follow and
they'll know.
Keep up with us. But we're going to be bringing an immersion experience to teenagers aspiring to be healthcare providers and lawyers, and just giving them hands-on real world experience, teaching them skills, so that way that moment, that nostalgia continues to catapult them to whatever career, because we know that is one thing to see it, but it's another thing to live it and have an experience. So we're bringing that to Miami, where we're looking to really have an explosive mentorship program. And that is our Healthcare for Humanity nonprofit organization. And I am just out here grinding, working, and just hoping to do really good things in the community. So please make sure you guys follow us on Belfon _health _aesthetics with the AESTHETICS. And keep up with us, and meet me in the DMs, meet me in the comments, wherever. I just love people and pouring into others.
That's awesome. I love it. And I love your spirit. I love your spirit. I love what you're doing. It's so amazing and well needed. But before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to say before we wrap up? Like, is there
Yeah,
anything you want to say or any other advice you want to give?
sure. So the first thing I want to say is definitely thank you so much for inviting me on your platform. This is amazing. It's really, a step in the right direction of us continuing to get the information out there, not only for our own community, but for others that may stumble upon us and find information. It's a wonderful thing. It definitely has that nice girl energy because it is giving other people in your same space a platform to talk about good things and get that out there. So thank you so much for inviting me on here. And another thing is just, as nurses and aspiring nurses, that the world is really at our fingertips, that we are very influential. We're very powerful as women. We are powerful, and we just have to continue to dust ourselves off, do the work, start the business, make the plan, make the connection, just show up for ourselves. And I meet so many people that just want to be a nurse or want to be a business owner, but while you're thinking about it, somebody else has the audacity to do it. So my last piece of advice is just to have the audacity to make your dreams reality.
Yes, the audacity. You hear that,
Audacity.
audience? Yeah. Well, thank you so much for, coming on
Yes.
as a guest. I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed your feedback, your advice, and I know for sure that this episode is going to be very inspiring. And I hope it open up the eyes for people that's especially in women's health and women just being more open and comfortable with speaking about their feelings and concerns. This is amazing what you're doing. And like I tell people all the time that as you're doing too as well, you can do all the things that your heart desires and all the things that you want to do. You don't have to be placed in a box. You don't have to have nobody place you in a box. You can do multiple things and still be successful at doing those multiple things. And that shows today with you in women's health and doing the aesthetics, and now you're finna start doing non-for-profit, and that is all of that is amazing things for people to hear and see, especially in our Black and Brown community, to be inspired, to be encouraged, and to know that they're doing it. I can do it too. That it is possible, of course, with hard work, but it is possible. It is possible. So again, thank you so much for joining White Coats and Real Talk podcast. And to the audience, I hope you found this episode very inspiring. I hope you gained knowledge from this episode. And of course, you can follow me on the social media platforms, subscribe to our YouTube channel, White Coats and Real Talk podcast, and just join the community. This beautiful, beautiful Black
It's
excellence community,
there.
these healthcare leaders, people that are real, true trailblazers in the healthcare space. So, yes, tap in, don't miss out. I just want to say thank you again
Thank you.
and have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you for having me.
Bye bye.
Bye.